How's it going, everyone? Welcome to No Fun Allowed, and today I wanted to talk about why perception skills exist. At some point in the game, there was no perception or investigation skill checks. There was a detect traps, but that's pretty much it. Why is it that perception skills exist? In a game where I should be able to say, my character does this, my character taps the wall, my character searches under the bed. Why do perception skills exist when I can do all these things? Well, let's talk about that, right? First off, do we need to say the same thing again? What's going to happen every single time I go into a room and there is no perception skills? I'm going to create a big old checklist of things. I'm going to tap the walls here and there. I'm going to search under the bed. I'm going to poke the ceiling. I'm going to poke the floor. I'm going to see if anything rattles. I'm going to have this humongous checklist of things that I'm always going to do, right? And what ends up happening is, if you do that every single time, you are saying it every single time, and it gets real old real quick. Once you know for a fact you're always going to be doing those things, that becomes the standard operating procedure, and you should work upon that. And that is why we roll those perception checks, because our characters are going to be doing those things. I say I'm searching around, my character is doing all those things. It's sort of baked in. It's almost extrapolated in a sense. Secondly is, if you have the skill, can you still manually search? So we have this role of I roll it and I succeed or I fail, whatever the case may be. But the question is, are you allowed to continue to manually search? Or if you choose not to use the perception skill, are you still allowed to move about the place and look around and touch things and do whatever else? Well, I think that does come down to your individual table. I personally wouldn't allow it because I want to keep the game moving. I want the game to go quickly. And I would say you don't choose to manually search things because your character is already manually searching things. We're skipping over that whole minutia of you going and looking at everything just by rolling the dice. If you roll high, good stuff. You roll low, then whatever. I like removing the manual search aspect of it because when it comes to the broad sense, when it comes to searching the areas, when it comes to seeing things, I like to keep it just very, very quick. When it comes to a very intricate trap, then for sure, depending on what you touch and what you feel and all that stuff, yeah, that individually matters. But I'm talking for the generic thing of, oh, you are moving about the hallway, oh, you're searching this random room. Just keep it going, just roll the dice, let's see what happens here. What it really comes down to is, are you searching for an abstract or an actual playstyle? If you are searching for that abstract playstyle, then the dice are your friend. You simply say, hey, always roll perception or investigations, and boom, that's always going to give you your results. Instead of having to manually just go through that whole checklist that you've got created, which you're always going to do, you just keep it completely abstract. But if you do like the idea of this game being a bit more gritty, and if you like the idea of each individual encounter is always going to be something unique, then you can go ahead and say, here is the confines of the room, here is what is inside of it, what do you wish to do? And yeah, maybe they will have that standard operating procedure, but maybe because of what are the contents of the area, they will start doing something differently. And that could matter if there is, let's say, a trap or a hidden door. If they accidentally activate it or accidentally open it, then it'll feel a lot more awesome that they actually manually set that off themselves. Another massive aspect of the whole perception skills versus just manually doing it is how much time are you willing to spend on it. If you are willing to spend a decent amount of time on your sessions with people manually searching for things because you like that hardcore style approach, you like the nitty gritty of it, then it's not time wasted. It is time spent in a fun manner. But if you are not willing to spend the time on it, then just roll the dice. Because instead of spending 10 whole minutes searching a room by manually touching things and waiting for the GM to describe what's going on, you just simply roll the dice one time, boom, done. Easy peasy. Now, players usually like to succeed. They like to win. They like to roll high. But of course, that doesn't always happen. A lot of times they roll low. My question is, when can you repeat the roll? When can you search the room again? Because, as mentioned before, you could say, hey, if you fail, then you can manually search. But if you don't want to allow any sort of manual searching, then you have to roll again if you want to search for something. If you fail one whole time searching this room, are you ever going to be able to come back to it? Or can you come back to it at a later time? Do you have to wait 10 whole minutes, maybe an hour, maybe days, weeks, months, years? How much time is there in between you repeating the roll? That will dictate the course of the adventure. If you say, hey, you cannot show up here for another hour, then your players are going to wander off somewhere, or they're going to stay right there in that room and wait that 1 hour and then search it again. But if you say that they have to take a whole day, then more than likely they're going to be moving out. Really depends on if there's wandering monsters and depending on if there's a time crunch and all these various things. For me personally, I do not allow dogpiling of skill checks. I have either, hey, one person does it for the whole group, or you do a group perception check, which means there is obviously some people that can drag the party down. It really comes down to that. And if they all fail it, then they can come back at a later day. Usually I try to have some sort of time implement in the game so that they can't just say, okay, we sit here for exactly 24 hours, because that gets really gamey really quickly. I'd rather have them either fearing for something or moving about somewhere else because they got better things to do, etc., etc. So why perception skills exist in the game is to facilitate a quicker adventure without going through the minutia of doing the same thing over and over again. I know for a fact that the overwhelming majority of people are probably on the side of rolling perception checks, but I know there's some of you out there that actually do not like that because maybe you see it as too gamey, maybe you don't like having physical things tied to that, but I say that there is a good mix between the two. For example, being this very picture here. When I have a trap running and it's elaborate and crazy, then yeah, perception is not going to matter. It's going to come down to, okay, you see a wall of faces there, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you see. Oh, and by the way, there's fire going and the darts flying off. What do you wish to do? And then, yeah, the manual play is going to definitely kick in there. But when it comes to just the ordinary, you walk down the hall, you walk into a random room, you do this, you do that, then I'm just going to have you roll the dice because ain't nobody got time for that. I've got a game to run, and exploration is a large part of the game, and I want my people exploring around more and more. So go ahead and tell me, do you prefer perception skills where you're rolling dice to find what you need? Or do you prefer just having your players look around and telling you exactly what they are looking at? Because that could possibly affect something. Are you okay with your session time being taken up by searching various traps and rooms and whatever else? Or do you just want to get the ball rolling? And how do you handle using the perception skills again if you fail? Go ahead and tell me all those things because I would love to hear it. But that's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching. Thanks for listening. And thank you to my amazing patrons. You guys are absolutely incredible. Thank you so very much. And I cannot wait to see you all in the next one.